Hello learners, in this program I will discuss about magmatic ore deposits, types and processes. First, I will discuss about the magmatic concentration. Magmatic concentration, how the magmatic processes are held responsible for concentration of valuable elements and they are responsible for the formation of ore deposits. Magmatic ore deposits are basically products of magmatic deposits. They crystallize out from magmas. The main issue is magma. What is magma? Magma is a molten rock material through which various rocks have been formed, and during the formation of rocks various mineral deposits are formed. Accessory minerals means those minerals which are present in less amount. They have high freezing point, high melting point. Those elements, they crystallize out fast. They are called accessory minerals. Accessory minerals present in the magma. After crystallization, these accessory minerals, they undergo concentration, and the concentration of these elements is to that extent that they are of sufficient size and richness and constitute a deposit. The process is called magmatic ore deposits. Some of these deposits are large and rich. For example, chromite and platinum deposits. Now, magmatic concentration, how it takes place. What is magmatic concentration and how it takes place? Let us discuss this thing. First, it is characterized by close relationship with deep-seated intrusive body. The basic point in this magmatic concentration is that the magmatic ore deposits are connected with intrusive igneous rocks. That is the first and foremost requisite. The second one is the type of magmatic deposit. Type of magmatic deposits, they are of magmatic segregations, magmatic injections or igneous syngenetic deposits. Magmatic segregation means the accessory minerals, after crystallization they get segregated to the bottom of the magma chamber. Why they get segregated at the bottom of the magma chamber? Because their specific gravity is high. So they get separated and they form layers. Residual part, which is left out after segregation of these accessory mineral, that got injected. Injected means there are certain weak planes, faults, fissures, joints through which the residual magma is injected and it gives rise to magmatic injection. And syngenetic ore deposits, they are formed at the same time when the enclosing rock is formed. The timing of the formation of ore deposit as well as the enclosing rock is the same. So we call it as syngenetic ore deposit. Now come to the classification of magmatic deposits. As I told you earlier, magmatic deposit resulted from crystallization, fractionation or by differentiation processes of intrusive igneous masses. You see, in magma chamber, when magma is there, the process of crystallization is taking place with the lowering of the temperature. And during crystallization, fractionation is also taking place. The magma or homogeneous magma may get fractionated into different fraction. This is called fractionation, and differentiation is taking place simultaneously in the intrusive igneous masses. Early magmatic and late magmatic, these are the two major subdivisions. In case of early magmatic deposits, there are two broad categories. One is dissemination. Whatever minerals crystallized out, most likely that may be accessory, that gets disseminated throughout the country rock. So we called dissemination or disseminated crystallization without concentration, or the best example is diamond. Diamond pipes, diamonds, the rock is kimberlite. In this kimberlitic rock, the diamond crystals or grains, they are disseminated or distributed throughout the kimberlite. The second one is segregation. Segregation means, as I told you earlier also, the early formed accessory minerals may be magnetite or may be ilmenite. Because of their high density, they get settled down to the bottom of the magma chamber and they form layers. The best example is Bushveld igneous complex, where chromite or the chrome spinel gets settled down, crystallized out and settled down to the bottom of the magma chamber and forms a chromite deposit. Now late magmatic deposits. Late magmatic deposits under the influence of gravitative liquid accumulation. The deposit which is formed under the gravitative action, or the early formed crystals are deposited under the influence of the gravity and accumulated, they are classified into two major categories. One is residual liquid segregation, the other one or the second one is residual liquid injection. See carefully, one is residual liquid segregation. Here the process of segregation is taking place under the influence of gravity, where crystallization, differentiation and residual magma concentration or magma accumulation is taking place simultaneously. In case of second category, residual liquid, whatever liquid is left out of formation of residual liquid segregates, the liquid is left out in the system. This liquid is under pressure and it gets injected, and during injection process, filter pressing process is taking place and injection is also accompanied by the process of filter pressing. You see carefully the early formed residual segregation. These early formed residual segregate crystals, they form mush, crystal mush, and in between these crystal mush there are liquids left out, and this liquid which is left out is called residual liquid. This liquid is under pressure, it undergoes a mechanism of filter pressing and forms injection deposits. Best example is Adirondack magnetite deposit. Now I discuss immiscible liquid. Immiscible liquid means in magma there are two different types of magma which are immiscible. Chemically they may be same, but physically they may be different. There may be some gravity difference or there may be difference in the volatiles. So those magma which are immiscible, they undergo immiscible liquid segregation, number one. Number two, immiscible liquid injection. In case of two immiscible liquids, the process of segregation is always there, as it used to be earlier also. In this case, the immiscible liquid segregation and accumulation that takes place, the best example is Insizawa, South Africa deposit. The second one is immiscible liquid injection. With injection you get formation of mineral deposit. Example is Bushveld igneous complex. Now we will discuss each mineral subtypes in details. First, early magmatic deposit. Deposit resulted from magmatic process, also called orthomagmatic deposits. You may find in many books the terminology of orthomagmatic, which is also common and applied for early magmatic deposit. These two terms are interchangeable. These orthomagmatic or early magmatic deposits formed by simple crystallization, concentration, segregation of early formed crystals and injection of materials concentrated by differentiation. They form early magmatic deposit. Now, second one, ore minerals crystallized earlier than the silicates and separated by differentiation process. Viewers, I have told you that the early formed minerals, they are mostly spinels, magnetite, ilmenite, chrome spinels. These minerals, they bear high melting points. They are of high melting point or high freezing points. So they crystallize out first. Once they crystallize out, the left out magma is enriched in the silicate phase. So the remaining phase is rich in silicates. So ore minerals crystallize earlier than the silicates and separated by differentiation process. Whatever left out in the system, it undergoes differentiation, and as a result of differentiation, mineral deposits are formed. Now I discuss about another category which is also important category, is dissemination. Disseminated deposits, dissemination of ore deposits. Crystallization of a deep-seated magma resulting in a granular rock where early formed crystals are disseminated throughout. As I said earlier, the early formed crystals are mostly high melting freezing point minerals like magnetite, ilmenite, chrome spinels. All these minerals, they crystallize out, they form crystals, and these crystals are distributed throughout the magmatic rock. Second one, such crystals of economic value forms a magmatic mineral deposit. Magmatic mineral deposit means derived from the crystallization of the magma, and as a result the magmatic mineral deposit, maybe it may be magnetite, maybe it may be ilmenite, maybe it may be a diamond. It is disseminated throughout the magmatic rock. The best example is diamond. Diamond, small crystals of diamond is sparsely distributed throughout kimberlite pipe in South Africa. Shape may be of a dike. The kimberlite pipe or dike or diatreme or a small stalk may be there. The diamond crystals are distributed throughout the kimberlite rock. Kimberlite is the country rock. The second part is segregation. Early magmatic segregation, early concentration of valuable constituents of the magma resulting from gravitative crystallization differentiation and referred to as liquid magmatic. As I said earlier, the early formed crystals, they are separated out, and under the influence of gravity they get segregated at the bottom of the magma chamber and they form a layer. So you get a layered ore deposit. Layerings of ore deposits are there. The best example is chromite. Chromite crystallizes early and segregated in bodies of sufficient size and richness that constitute economic deposit. Now segregation takes place by sinking of heavy means early formed crystals to the lower part of the magma chamber. Lower part of the magma chamber is bottom of the magma chamber and forms early magmatic segregation. They are mostly in the form of lenticular shape or pod shaped lenses or stringers and bunches, and uncommonly forms layers in the host rock. Uncommonly formed layers in the host rock. Segregation. Example. What is the best example of segregation? The Bushveld igneous complex of South Africa, layered igneous complex, where do we get stratiform beds of chromite of uniform thickness, just like a sedimentary layers, just like a pages in the book, lie parallel to the pseudo-stratification of enclosing mafic igneous rocks. The second example is Stillwater complex of Montana is another example of such type of deposit. Here I am citing an example through a section of a mafic, ultramafic stratiform complex which is around 500 to 1500 meter thick. There are different layers of rocks. These layers of rocks, they include from the bottom, if you see carefully, from the bottom here you have metasedimentary rocks. This forms the bottom layer, but it is not a magmatic layer. First layer is of diabase and norite, which is mostly in the form of dikes and sills. It is a green colored shields here. Then it is followed by cumulus pyroxenites. Cumulus means the early formed crystals. They are of large size crystals because they crystallized slowly, and clumping of these large size crystals giving rise to cumulus crystals or aggregate of bigger crystals in the form of cumulates. These cumulates are there and form a layer, and this layer is called cumulus pyroxenite norite gabbro layer. This you can see, viewers, this is a pyroxenite norite gabbro layers, and this is formed by accumulation of large size or cumulates. It is because of accumulation of cumulates. This layer is followed by cumulus pyroxenite. These are also pyroxene cumulates. They settle down here because this is having higher density. This is slightly lower than the previous one, so they form another layer here and called this pyroxenite layer. It is followed by cumulus norite, anarthosite, minor tectolite, blue colored layer. Then it is followed by anarthosite layer, troctolite and gabbro layer, cumulus gabbro, this layer green color layer, and finally cumulus ferrogabbro to diorite layer. They are all different types of igneous rocks. They deposited in the form of layers. Why layers? Because of the gravitative settling of the early formed minerals. And early formed minerals, they settle down according to their density, and the larger formed crystals, cumulates, they settle down and form a layer. But these layers are important as far as ore deposits are concerned. In the lowermost layer, most of the massive and matrix disseminated with copper nickel sulfide deposits. Copper nickel sulfide deposit is associated with this lowermost green colored layer. Chromite layers, they occur in this layer here. The platinum group of elements, they are accumulated somewhere here in this blue colored layer, which is of norite, anarthosite or troctolite layer. And finally, at the top of this ferrogabbro or dioritic layers, the minerals found, the ore deposits associated with this mineral are mostly vanadium, titanium and magnetite. This section is from Bushveld igneous rocks. Now, upper chromite horizon in Bushveld complex, if you see carefully, you may find the bottommost chromite layer, black colored chromite layer here. It is followed by chrome. Then it is followed by green colored pyroxenitic diallage gabbro. It is a rock. It is not an ore deposit, but it is a rock, and in this chromite layer is associated with this igneous rock. Then it is followed by again chromite deposit. It is followed by a bronzonite diallage. This is again an igneous rock. It is followed by chrome layer, then diallage gabbro and mottled earthorite, and this is an ore burden. So viewers, you may find chromite layers, black colored chromite layers interbedded, just like sedimentary rocks, interbedded into the layers of the igneous rocks. Mostly these rocks are ultramafic rocks. Now come to injection. What is injection? Ore minerals concentrated by crystallization and differentiation and associated with silicate minerals. Remember, here this process is different from the previous process in the sense that the ore minerals are associated with silicates. Previous minerals were not associated with the silicate magma, but here the minerals are associated with silicates. Ore minerals injected into host rock or surrounding rocks as oxide crystals, and these crystals are in the form of mush fluidized by residual magma. Now, structural relationship in case of injection, they are injected into country rock. The best example is titaniferous magnetite deposit in the form of a dike. The best example is Rhode Island dike, where titanium and magnetite ore deposits are found. Largest magnetite body of the world at Kiruna in Sweden is the best example. Viewers, whatever I have discussed in this section, I would like to summarize it. Let me summarize what I have discussed. I have discussed about the magmatic process, and my focus was mainly on the early magmatic deposits. In my second part of the lecture, I will discuss about the late magmatic deposit. Thank you very much.